Good evening. My name is Jenna Birch, and I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement at the Westchester University Foundation. Thank you for joining us this evening for our lecture and tour series, Beyond the Bell, Philadelphia's Global Heritage. We are excited to have you join us for the final event in this series. If you've missed any of our other previous events, you can access recordings of each presentation on the Alumni Association website, wcualumni.org. Please remain on mute until the end of this presentation, at which time you will be invited to provide feedback and questions related to the subject. For the best experience, we recommend having your viewing screen set to speaker, which will allow you to view the presentation in the largest format. This can be found on the top right-hand corner of your screen. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Museum Director, Michael Giovine.
Hi, how are you? Sorry, we're on an iPhone here, but nice to see everyone here. We're in for a special treat for our last thematic tour and lecture of this exhibition, the Beyond the Bell exhibition. So if you've been here before, pardon the canned kind of intro that I give. And if you haven't, welcome. I'm Michael Giovine. I'm a professor of anthropology here at Westchester University and the director of our Museum Studies program, as well as the director of the Museum of Anthropology and Archaeology, which is located in the old library here on Westchester University's campus. I'm joined today by two student curators of this exhibition, Beyond the Bell. So we have Virginia Vintson, who's a graduate student, and Harrison Warren. You've seen over there, yeah. So who have both curated among a number of students this exhibition. Then our special guest, our guest expert today is the incomparable. What's your name? John Baker. John Baker, who was a professor emeritus of art and design, and of course has been such a wonderful supporter of the arts both on campus and in Philadelphia. So we're really lucky to have you. And as a special really special program tonight. We're also joined, I believe, by several of the artists whose work is on display in this exhibition. So before I toss it over to John and the students, I did want to just tell you one quick thing about this exhibition. This represents a capstone of the Museum Studies program for the cohort. Each cohort gets to design from start to finish an exhibition, and research it, get artifacts, and of course design and curate an exhibition. We were so fortunate for this particular one to partner with Global Philadelphia Association. We want to give a special shout out to them. Several of the artists who are here tonight are members of that organization as well. They had put us in touch with everyone early on. So the idea for this particular year's exhibit, or last year's exhibit, was the fact that in November of 2022, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of UNESCO's World Heritage Convention. That's my area of expertise, let's say, in general, my research. Philadelphia is the second, has the second World Heritage Site for the United States, which essentially this kind of World Heritage Convention kind of elevates local places to universal human cultural value, right? So particularly, it wasn't the whole city, but rather the Liberty Bell and Independence National Park. And so as we start talking about what do we want to do about Philadelphia, we really kind of wanted to go beyond. The students really wanted to go beyond the image, even the artistic image and the icon of the Liberty Bell, while still acknowledging it, right? But going beyond and saying, look, the true heritage of Philadelphia, the true global heritage of Philadelphia is built on the interaction of diverse communities over time. And so all of you guys, the students, kind of curated different exhibits that were kind of cross-cutting, right? So you did transportation in general and talked about how different cultures kind of came together, especially in the trains, the train railroad system here. But others did art and design and music. And of course, Philadelphia, of course, has a wonderful artistic heritage. I wanted to just start really quickly, though, before we go beyond this bell, and just kind of say that even the bell itself is a salient icon. I don't know if you wanted to zoom in really quickly. We have here a lot of images of this bell, a lot of artistic images from even this, the John beer that we have here, to the fact that if you see in the last century, this represents 100 years of Liberty Bell on air stamps from the last 100 years. You see, like every 20 years, we average a Liberty Bell image on the stamp. They're all different. they're all very artistic. They're all, beautiful in their own right. The icon of the Liberty Bell graces like the hats and the Phillies and everything else. So that kind of image is so important. It stands not only for Philadelphia, of course, but as UNESCO kind of talks about, it also stands for this idea, concept of America, the concept of national unity, of freedom, but also this Enlightenment era democracy. And so actually we have here, John, I wanted to kind of toss it to you because we have, there's one of the only things that isn't authentic in this exhibition. You have a lot of authentic art. Right. This is a little too out of my price range, I think, to get an authentic print from David Klein. But what do we see here?
Yeah, well, David Klein, he passed away in 2005, but he was a commercial illustrator, really highly regarded in the field. He did a lot of work through the late 50s through the 60s for TWA, Howard Hughes. He was really focused on transportation. I mean, that was the era of transportation that it was like the golden age.
That's like the freedom and liberty of travel.
And he was really such an outstanding illustrator that he encompassed not only Philadelphia and the Bell. You could see here the train. He's capturing the concept of travel. But when he did like Paris or he did Seattle or wherever it may be, he really focused on the travel itself.
Right.
And also being commissioned through TWA. A lot of it was about flight. And again, that golden age where you wore a coat and tie or you had a cocktail
and three martinis,
but we won't go down that now.
We're gonna have that afterwards.
Another golden age. But again, he was so highly regarded, and I would recommend Googling all his imagery because it really encompasses not just travel, but culture and to me, early diversity within the whole concept of what he was doing. As far as Philadelphia goes, if you'd like me to talk a little bit
about Philly?
The art scene. Well, Philly, I mean, it's a destination. We have the Philadelphia Art Museum. We have the Barnes Foundation. Am I still there? The Barnes Foundation. We have Rodin right down the street from the Barnes. Not to mention the Kimmel and the Academy and everything else. So Philly to me is a really arts destination. But outside of that, we have so many other museums. I would say 1,000, but number of galleries. But we also have places like the Clay Studio, which really brings in a broad range of artists. The Fabric Workshop, here again, a broad range of artists. And not to leave out what South Street used to be. South Street used to be a mecca for artists. It still is in some respect, but we have the Magic Garden, which I think we'll be talking about later through this conversation. But to me, the one thing that really stands out in Philadelphia is the mural arts program. There are over 4,000 murals in Philadelphia alone. And that really speaks to every aspect, every community. They're almost like a cohort of pockets of murals that really speak to the diversity of each area. They bring in a community of individuals that it's not just the artist. The artist is working with the individuals that live in the community. So the mural arts program, here again, that's a highlight of Philly. They're considered the world, probably the strongest world mecca of murals. So.
Oh yeah. Before I even came to Philly, I mean, that was the one thing we knew about Philly. Was the mural arts program. It's such a rich program, and it's great because it's public art. So that's also really important.
Public art, and it really speaks to the public itself. I mean, if you were to take one of the bus tours for the mural arts, you're going to see that they speak to not only diversity, but all aspects throughout. I think the last 20, 30 years of Philadelphia's history, and you'll see a lot of bells being represented.
I'm sure.
On Callow Hill Street, there's one mural that really captures all of Philadelphia's heritage. And I think we'll speak more about that as we
absolutely. And of course, we have, I believe we have a mural artist here as well, so we'll hear from her too. All right, so we go beyond the bell now. I want to pass it over to you three to really, they're going to take you on a little tour here of just a couple of the exhibits. I mean, we can't hit all of them, but we did kind of choose a couple that are more artistic, that have something interesting that we want to say about it. So I will take this from you because Virginia, you're going to be the first one.
Yeah.
I hope this camera's okay because we're using the wrong side, I think.
I think it's working pretty well.
All right. So where are you right now? Okay.
Good.
Can't we? We can't.
We're good.
All right.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Virginia. We're inside one of my cases now, which is the Lenape Hocking, which celebrates the heritage beyond of the land, who was here before Philadelphia was established, before the colonies. The Lenapes have such a rich history, and on display we have 3 of our own private collection. We have the Minguanan pottery, for at least 3,000 years, about 3,000 years ago, indigenous people along the east were producing clay pots. What we have inside of our case is the Minguanan style, which was popular here with indigenous people throughout the southeast. At least between 800 years ago and the colonial era, this pottery was locally sourced and fired, and fired inside of an open fire.
Right.
The colors and the temperature, the colors produced vary depending on the temperature that they were fired in. And you can also see that there are 3 different kind of patterns. You have one that's a little bit smoother, one that has more geometric patterns, and then also one that is a little bit more ridged. And what we do know is that when these were being fired, different impressions would be left on them using different tools.
Sure. And I think you could see in this one, I'm hoping that you can see it on this. But they used, what is it? John's the potter here, but you use a coil style, right?
They're mostly coil technique. So, and then just slightly turn as if it was on a turnstile.
Right.
Slowly rotating the piece.
Right. And then you see, what I think is important too, is that you see that even whatever 3,000 years ago, again, these are recreations that are by somebody, these are real, these are about 5,000-year-old soapstone bowls. And you can see there, I mean, they even are making, carving, handles and things that are for decorative purposes more than functional ones. But certainly, they were making, using, what is it, that leather hard technique to kind of make decorations. So it's over functional. It's more than just functional. We're being artisans.
Yeah, they're very utilitarian, but they're being decorative at the same respect. I mean, there was a concern for the surface and also just, more than just a bowl, just a open functional bowl.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we have here, the National Park Service was nice enough to loan us a whole collection of artifacts from one particular dig. This was a dig for the Constitution Hall, and they dated this particular dig at 1750. So what I like about this particular case is that you see in one site, right? You see a variety of cultures and artistic styles represented here. I mean, you have all at once that kind of suggests that we were a trade center and an immigration center. You have a Scottish wine bottle up in the back left. You have a Chinese porcelain, plate. You have these 2 in the back. This almost commercially kind of made chinois style British pottery. You have, I mean, I am biased because I'm Italian, but this the Montelupo Fiorentino swirl style, spirale they call it, which is really interesting. Spirale verde, a green spiral. You see very few of these in the New World. There's one in Mexico that we found as well. But I mean, this is, before Italy was even a country for many 200 years, 100 years before unification. And then over here you have, this is local clay made by French Huguenots. This is a particular style that the French Huguenot population did. But you see it's that redware, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that from Philly though? I don't know.
Yeah, well, redware.
I mean, they are from Philly. But...
Yeah, redware was very popular for this area. I mean, it was a true Pennsylvania Dutch redware later in time, But I want to just briefly speak because you're talking about several generational periods within this collection.
Yeah.
So really to bring it back to our area for Chester County, I'm first going to show you a book with potters and the potteries of Chester County. This is by Arthur James. This
We'll just move it
I'm going to zoom in here. This is really a fantastic book if you want to learn about the heritage and about ceramics in general of Chester County. But in this book, I selected one potter, which I think would resonate well with this group, but also with this exhibition, who is Thomas Vickers. There were actually 4 generations of the Vickers. Thomas being senior, his son John, they all became potters throughout Chester County. Some like right outside of Westchester,
Yep.
others closer towards Downingtown, but they were really highly regarded, well-known potters. They were of Quaker origin. The senior vicar, Thomas Vicker, was actually in the Quaker meeting, so he ran meetings. But what was important with them, not only were they outstanding potters, which, you know, they supplied crocks and jugs, dinnerware to everything, but they were also very involved with the Underground Railroad. They were taking and selling pots from this region to Wilmington at that point in time. If you could imagine, that was quite a trek. But to cross into Delaware, to go down towards Maryland, provided the opportunity for that Underground Railroad aspect of what they would do. And we all know the story of the slaves hiding underneath the straw with all the pots on top. So this was very true.
Yeah, we actually, when we have, I believe we have some Vickers pottery both here and in the Chester County History Center. We also actually, while you're talking about this, this has nothing to do with art, but we do have, Virginia curated a really fantastic heritage of slavery and abolition exhibit. And you have here, Virginia, what is this? This is on loan from Lebanon Valley College. It's a history of the Underground Railroad autographed by Robert Purvis.
Yeah.
It's this whole story of Chester County's Underground Railroad right here, which is really important. Of course, we were also back in the colonial era. We did have a slave trade with one of the largest auctions early on, and you know, thanks to the Lest We Forget Museum, Gwen Ragsdale had spoken here a month ago. We do have shackles from a slave ship as well, but also we have one of the oldest abolitionist texts ever written from Effort and Cloister as well. So we do, you know, these things all kind of tie together. I mean, you can't really separate out, I guess, art and commercial production from all the other stuff, right? Politics.
I mean, art certainly is involved in all aspects of culture, diversity, politics, as you already mentioned. So there's always been a component within the arts that have always been involved with those aspects of things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I don't know. Should we have a little lighter kind of conversation? You want to see these crazy things on the wall, maybe? Yeah, we're on this like wheelie thing. So. All right.
So now looking at the brighter side, we're going to take a look at a pretty fun tradition that has been around for hundreds of years, actually almost dating back to the 17th century. The mummers, which for those who don't know, the mummers consists of a group of wind and string bands that march around Philadelphia in homemade costume. And the origins date back to the 17th century in Sweden. There's also some Finnish heritage associated with it as well. And we actually have 2. You can see the second one over here, the red, white, and blue one. But we have 2 mummers costumes, mummers bands and groups in Philadelphia and even outside Philadelphia take months to construct these homemade costumes, and most of them match. Most of the groups like to wear matching ones, but there's also other ones that make completely random ones that don't match at all. Actually, since the 17th century, when more people started to immigrate to the United States, and when George Washington was actually in Philadelphia as the first president of the United States, he was really the one to start the trend of having the mummers celebrate New Year's Day, marching around the city. And that tradition became an unofficial trend in Philadelphia. And then finally in 1901 was when the first official Mummers Day Parade was established. And since then, it's been a yearly thing. The Mummers Parade has only been canceled on 3 occasions. The first time was in 1919 due to concerns with the Spanish flu epidemic. The second one was in the 1930s because of the Great Depression. And the third time, most recently, was in 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But since then, the Mummers Parade has kept on going strong, and it looks like it won't stop anytime soon. It's definitely one of the brighter traditions here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and we're lucky to have this. I think, John, are you wearing a mummer's outfit? I feel like you should be wearing.
It's not a mummer's outfit, but it really is a Philly thing. I mean, to me, this really encompasses a lot of the heritage. We have everything.
There's the bell.
From the bell, starting with the bell.
You got
to
Robert,
the
Indiana.
Yeah, we have the Philly pretzel, and not to leave out Rocky. But here again, I think fashion within Philadelphia not only encompasses the mummers, but all your sports memorabilia.
Oh, absolutely.
If you go to Philly, you'll see the Philly jerseys, regardless what team, on every individual.
Yeah.
So to me, that's Philly fashion.
Absolutely. I mean, these things are, I mean, you know, the bell and all this kind of stuff, they're everywhere. So I want to just say, this is totally off the cuff. So I got to give a shout out, if you can see this, to this flag over here, to Sherwin-Williams. Like, I don't mean to like do a promotion. They didn't pay me to do this. I had to buy the paint myself from this stuff. But so when we were buying the paint, Sherwin-Williams, the manager, was wearing a shirt with this logo on it. And you can see it's the bell, it's Rocky holding the what's the flyer, the Stanley Cup, right? And I said, I need this for this right now. I need your shirt. And she said, well, I could give you the flag instead. But I mean, you know, these kinds of things that, you know, where you start mixing and matching the iconography. I mean, we didn't talk about film as art, but of course, Rocky and all these other films. I mean, some of them that are represented here, music, which we did a whole thing on in the last month. You know, there's so much art, you know, and so many icons that kind of blend together as well. But, you know, going back to your fashion, I think let's try to move maybe a little bit.
Move a little bit?
Yeah, here. You'll bring this?
Carry it, okay.
Sure, and I'll wheel this thing.
I'm just following you.
Okay, I'll follow you, you follow me.
That sounds good.
I just have to sport my shirt. What can I say?
I mean, you kind of match
I
in
do,
this
I do.
section. It's just
It's just-
perfect.
Right, I mean, it's almost as nice, John, as the Randall Cunningham 80s jacket.
know,
You know,
I know.
that's a great fashion art statement as well. But I mean, you can see, look at all the different, I mean, I love this, right? All these different pennants as well. Such, you know, you
have
got the
like a
bells and some of
section
these, but
Screen.
you know, there's the bell, right? Philadelphia Bell, WFL team. I mean, you see these icons in a lot of different areas as well. But, you know, we were, you know, Harry, you were talking about fashion. I mean, the mummers and everything, but mummers aren't the only thing that we're known, you know, fashion wise, right? I mean,
Right, yeah.
Philly was known as a fashion capital at some point.
It was, yeah. It was also very important. It was a pretty big textile center too. Actually, down here, this is a textile cart believed to be from a Jewish textile merchant. You can see the cloth here is supposed to represent what the cart would have looked like back in the day here. And hope we can see, are they in these?
You can pull that out. So I think Joel Spivak and Diane Keller might be here, but certainly did, you know, this is all from that. Yeah.
But there's an example of some of the fabric you might be able to buy if you see a vendor.
I love this, the 70s, right? The 70s.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know Joel found this abandoned. I don't know if Joel, if you're on, but you know, certainly, you know, thanks again for this. He's been pretty integral in kind of collecting some of these artifacts that really, you know, have been, you know, tossed away, but really are indicative of especially South Street's heritage. Right. And I have to say, I mean, again, culinary art certainly is an art as well. I mean, this isn't what we're talking about, but we also have here, let's see if we can see this, the horseradish grinder, right? So this was a man named Abe would be on South Street up until the 1970s, actually grinding fresh horseradish, especially for the high holidays. And they would, you know, Joel, you were talking about how people would be coming in with their big cars from the suburbs to get that freshly ground horseradish. And he was so well known in the Jewish community in South Street that Isaac Zagar, who was, you know, obviously the artist of the Magic Garden, immortalized him in this great mosaic called Abe, and I guess that's what Abe looked like as the grinder. So we're really, I love this. I love it. It's by the religion, but also by the art wall. So you have a lot of things going on here. But I don't know, John, do you want to say anything about the Magic Garden, or
Well,
like what is, for those of you know, I wasn't from Philly, so I didn't know much about it. Originally.
Well, as I recall, when I used to visit South Street, back in the late 70s, early 80s, Isaiah had started doing the murals right next to the Eyes Gallery. So that's where I believe, at least from my recollection, it all started. And it started with some mosaics and some, you know, broken glass and ceramics and just a beautiful reflection within mirror, everything else. And then it just kept growing and growing into the Magic Garden that we know today.
Yeah.
So again, I think there might be, Joel might have more of a background on that. Again, I was an art student and then teaching, and just loved going down there and seeing the whole evolution of not only the Magic Garden, but the whole art scene with the Eyes Gallery, the Works Gallery, everything else that was going on in South Street.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just think it's such a active, like a really great area. You even had, wasn't it, unfortunately it burned down, we didn't have the big that restaurant for Hogan's and stuff, the cheesesteaks, right? What was it?
I think so. I forget which one.
I mean,
exactly.
everything,
I did hear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, the Philly pretzel.
What was it called?
I don't think the cheesesteak is in here.
Okay.
Jim Steaks. Jim
Yeah,
Steaks.
Yeah.
Dim steaks, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Joel's not here. He's downstairs doing a different Zoom. I'm up here.
No. Well, we want to. Well, why don't you want to say something about, since we're talking about public murals? We want to turn it over in a minute to some of the artists that are here as well. But you know, do you want to say something about mural arts first, and then, or did you? Is that it?
No, I think,
You want to kick it?
yeah, again, like the mural arts program is such a vibrant community-based program. Again, I encourage everybody, if you haven't had the opportunity to take the tour through Philadelphia, to take advantage of that. It's a great student trip also.
Yeah.
To go through. But Jane Golden really has created a wonderful entity within that. And it's also, with her guidance and direction, has expanded to so many other cities. And again, it really brings in not only culture and diversity, as I mentioned, but it really brings community engagement.
Yeah.
So you really get, you know, the whole community involved. Everybody buys in. It's not a graffiti thing anymore, as it generated through graffiti artists in the early days that became mural artists, that became recognized as artists of their own. So I'm just going to do a plug for Westchester, the borough. We also have our Public Arts Commission. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll plug somebody else too, for like mural arts.
Because we actually, one of our art majors just finished the mural for the Friends Association. Noah Burns, I think he was in some of the publications, but we did a very phenomenal 3-story mural, not high on the scaffolding.
No, it's awesome.
I did the
Really great.
But yeah, so there's.
I saw that motion, yeah. And I mean, I have to say too, just because they're our co-sponsor here, Global Philadelphia Association does have a whole project where they partner with all the different universities in Philadelphia to to create murals that kind of speak to them as well.
Mhm.
So, obviously we're a little outside of Philly, but, Temple and everyone, they're doing that. Right? And I actually have to say, it's interesting talking about diversity in the mural arts program. So the way that I got sensitized to the art scene in Philly and the mural arts program in general is I was working as a consultant for a museum visitor audience research firm. And I was hired by the Fleischer. So you talk about the Fleischer, to understand better their new demographics. They're in the South side, and they used to be for Italian immigrants, Jewish immigrants. Fleischer used to hand out like pencils to the immigrants to kind of civilize them, to get them to do art instead of whatever else they were going to do on the streets. But of course, we as Italian Americans, Jewish Americans, we've gone to the suburbs, and their new demographics are, the Cambodian community, the Vietnamese, Mexican community, and African Americans that are around there. And so they kind of hired me, and I put together a team of ethnographers to go around looking at what constitutes art down in that area. And you just made me think about it. I didn't even think about this before. And, for the Mexican community, we saw on all the windows a lot of textile, like quinceanera dresses and talking and interviewing people. They said, well, this is our form of artistic expression. And we went to the Khmer community and everything. I do want to give a shout out to a really wonderful, fantastic piece of art that represents the Cambodian community here. This is a rubbing from the 1970s from Angkor Wat. Actually, that my mother-in-law brought back at the time. And they were talking about their own kind of art. And then when we went, especially to the African-American community, in addition to kind of the music, right? And that stuff, the murals were all around, and that is something that we're very proud of, right? And you also have to represent, you see yourself in these murals.
They're all storytelling in your own.
Exactly.
They all have a message of some kind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we should turn it over to the artists themselves. So we have here what we kind of call the art wall, where we have in addition to more fashion, like international fashion, that's fun, whatever. That's great. I love it. We do have a lot of diverse artists that are represented here. And I think we should start with the person, the artist who has participated in mural arts program. So Diane Keller, do you want to take over? Maybe talk a little bit about, we have here Bill Bacchini, but talk whatever you want to talk about. What would you like to talk about today?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me. John, I wanted to ask you, you're the John Baker from the Dumpster Diver show, right?
I am. I saw you just the other week.
Right.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. So that's really funny. Well, this painting, and I'm not sure I can do a screen share if I know how to do that.
Yeah, it should be. You should be allowed to, able
but,
to.
Yeah, I see it here. Hold on. The Bill Bacchini, I started working at Judy's Cafe, and Judy's Cafe was a early LGBTQ, etc. restaurant down at 3rd and Bainbridge. And before that, I was kind of moving around. I went to Moore College of Art and graduated in 1971 after taking a year off. I was originally in this year 70. And I also modeled for Neil Welliver, who was the chair of the painting department up at Penn. And he was doing these very kind of modernist figure paintings at the time of women in water. And I sat with him and watched him paint, and had such a great education watching him paint about 5 or 6 or 7 paintings of me nude in water. I wasn't in water, he put me in water. But anyway, I was very influenced by
all my
him.
nudes, I'm in water, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so
Right. And so my work at when I started working at Judy's in like 1978, I had just started doing these larger oil painting canvases. And let me just go there a second. Let's see if I can share the screen. Yeah, here, let me go here. How do I do this? There we go. Here's the Bill Bacchini painting. I don't know. Can you see this? Can you see this? Should I run through them individually, but a lot of them are, let me show you. This is, let me see if I can bring this up. Come on. This is Eileen Plato. She was the owner of Judy's Cafe, along with Judy herself. This is a picture of Joel that I did in 1979.
Which one is it?
This is
You have-
Joel. This is Joel. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
We just see the big, like all of the pictures.
Oh, you don't see this individual one says I'm doing here?
No, if it's popping up, it's not.
Okay, no. Okay, let me go back. This is this. I don't know how to get out of here. Oops. Well, let me just get out of that. So you see this this overall thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't see that other stuff. This is Judy here, the
Okay.
Judy, the original Judy. And so I don't think I can make these other ones larger if you're going to see them. But let me get out of here. We'll just talk about that because it's not Judy's. I used to paint all the you know, the other staff and friends at Judy's, and hang them on Judy's wall. So that was sort of my first gallery at using. Can I stop here? Let me stop the share. That was you know, the way I was making these paintings and putting them up on at the restaurant and waiting on tables. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, after 1988, I started teaching at Penn. I taught painting and drawing, and it was a really great experience also. But in 94, 95, I met Jane Golden, and I started working with the Mural Arts program. And let me see if I can get to the other thing that's on the screen here. I don't know if it's going to work, but I have some really interesting. There's a sorry.
Yeah.
Let me get to this. The bandstand mural, the American Bandstand. That's one of the murals that that was not really seen a lot because it's inside the Enterprise Center. Let me see if I can get into this. See if there's anything to look at here. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to look for the actual. Oh, there it is. Can you see that?
No.
Anybody?
But if you
can't-
close the screen, then focus on the next one, you know, like keep that one open and just share it.
No, I'm not sure how to do that. I can say what I have on my screen now is the mural. The
Yeah, we
bandstand.
have your files.
Oh, phooey. Okay, well, I'll stop doing that. Anyway, yeah, my first mural was the Frank Rizzo. I was doing portraits with Karen Spiro, who had a primarily portraits company, and she introduced me to Jane. And so Frank Rizzo was my first mural, and you know, that was a very controversial thing. They finally painted it out last year, I guess it was, after 25 years. It was very controversial, very, very divisive. Everybody, you know, it just from the get-go, it was like, why'd you do that? You know, well, it was my first.
Even when you first did it, even when you first painted it, people had questioned it.
Yeah, but you know, Rizzo, that was 25 years ago. Rizzo, it didn't have, you know, the culture wasn't as it is now.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't you know, it was as in the Italian market, it was very cherished. They loved it. And you know, but anyway, it was a whole story in itself. And that was my first mural. But I did I did the Frank Sinatra mural, which isn't there anymore. And I did the Mary Alonzo mural, which had a great load of fans, and it was a lot of fun doing. Did a lot of other landscapes and things like that. And I did the Women's Way mural, which is a huge project. It was 4 walls on 21st Street and 22nd Street. And it was the most difficult job. It was in a really bad location. And that was one of the things back then, you know, we climbed scaffold. We actually started the Rizzo mural in November and kind of finished it up in the spring. But, you know, we were out there in the weather and doing it. It was pretty interesting.
Right. That was prior parachute cloth before you.
That was before, yeah, we We did, I have never done the parachute cloth. I've always painted directly on the wall and, you know, climbed the scaffolding. And, you know, the only thing I've done in the past many years though is restoring some of the ones that, you know, some of the landscapes, the one on 8th and Christian and a few other, the other ones that were, you know, did one up on Frankfurt Avenue. A nice tropical landscape up there. But, you know, but all the paintings from the Judy's era were the early paintings that were, you know, portraits with, in fact, those fabrics that, you know, you showed at the, with the cart. I had a huge collection of patterned fabrics and I incorporated them. The picture of Bill Pacini doesn't have the kind of patterns that a lot of the other ones had. A total fabric pattern background with different patterns juxtaposed against each other. And so I was really playing with that stuff at the time as well. But I had the, you know, collection of fabrics. And in fact, I got most of those fabrics or many of those fabrics from a store on 5th Street where the Crown of Creation was, and Heshy and his family had a fabric business in the back. And one day he asked some people to come and just take anything they wanted out of the back. I had to put my, you know, van in the back and just like stuffed it with all this fabric and yeah, brought it back. But
That's great. You know, we wanted to have the loan of Bill Pacini in particular because of course it ties in with the whole, he's a designer, right? So he's a textile,
right, exactly,
fast
right.
fashion.
Yeah, back then he was working at he was working at Milliken or something back in the day. I don't know what he's, you know, I haven't seen him in
He's in New York, I think, or something.
Yeah, he was in New York for a while, yeah, with Milliken, I think.
Right. Well, thanks so much. This was so fascinating, so interesting. You know, it's a great story career.
Well, thank you. You know, it's been
and we really
fun
appreciate
showing
you
it.
and Bill helping.
Yeah, well, you know, I could go on and on. I have had you know, I've had a lot of different, I've been really lucky to have a lot of different experiences in Philadelphia and a lot of different venues, you know, with Penn, with Moore originally, but with Penn and the mural arts and, you know, and the dumpster divers.
Yeah.
You know, which is another whole.
We should plug that show.
Is it still
up for another,
Well, it's still up for
week.
another week. Yep.
Yeah.
And,
Chester County Art Association. Along with the dumpster divers, we have in the other gallery, the trashy women.
The trashy women, right?
That's their title. Not
Yeah.
Not yours.
I want to just be clear on that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're involved because you're also involved at the Chester County Art Center as well.
Yeah.
But aren't you involved? So if you can we move? We'll move
Yeah.
on really quickly. Thanks so much.
Sure.
You know, we have another. Where is this? So next door here. You know, you're also involved in an initiative in Chinatown, right?
Yeah, with Sue Chen. Sue, are you on?
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, John. Hi, Michael.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. You want to
Yeah,
talk a little bit about? Yeah.
Okay, sure. I actually made like a 6 page of a slide. Let me try to share it. So maybe it will make it easier for us to.
Sure, a slideshow.
Yeah. So if I can share that, okay? Can you see?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So basically, like, you know, my name is Su Cheng. That this is my like Chinese name. I'm the founder and the president of International Chinese Art Society. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And actually, Dr. John Baker is on our board, and he is an honorary president, which is we are very fortunate. Thank you, John. And I'm also ABD International. I'm the founder and the president of that organization. The company, we work side by side. Many ABDs help fund it, the society. And the most interesting, I think, is that I'm actually graduated from Westchester University many years ago. I went to graduate school for computer science. I know. But I always passionate about art and painting. I on my spare times, I just go to teachers and to learn art as much as I could. So, and that's about a brief introduction about me.
Yeah. Sue, can you
And,
tell us about your technique? Because you use a lot of traditional technique in your.
Yeah, let me talk a little about that. So the Chinese painting, first of all, as you can see, I'll talk a little bit about that. First, it's like over like 2,000 years of history. And for the content is really, I'll talk about a little bit more in the next slide. So for the Chinese painting, it's like a self-contained system. We don't see anywhere else in the world doing the way we do it. It's really unique. So what we do is I think the style-wise probably is because the painting tools, we use rice paper and use ink and pigment and the brushes. The brushes is like you can use like a sheep hair or, to make, or the wolf hair to make the brush. And the rice paper, you paint on the rice paper, then you have to mount it. And then the color will brighten out and to make it more like beautiful to stand out. And as far as for the form of the painting, which is very interesting compared to the oil painting, it's more like it's very much focused on the structure of the character of the object itself, like a pianist, like for example. And it mainly depends on the line you are creating and the splash of the inks. And it's very important how you use the brush and the ink to to create the distance look of the further of far or closer to make it like a 3D kind of look. So it does not focus on it does not have a focal perspective, and it's very flexible as far as for the space you're creating and applying the pictures, very unique for that. So art, like I was saying, that it's in content, it's very rich in content. Art as a whole, Chinese painting, it emphasizes the organic combination of literature and calligraphy, seal cutting, you seal making, you like make seals, and of course the painting by itself. And you will integrate it, the painting and the portrait and the calligraphy and seal printing into the artwork as well. As you can see, the one I painted here, and this is like a poem here, and this is a seal print representing like a longevity in Chinese. And this is my name is signed, like the artist, you sign your name over there. So you use calligraphy to embed everything in the painting. Then this is my name seal. And for this particular painting, for the peach, it's like whatever it says right here is that it's like this peach will take 3,000 years to grow. So most of the times for Chinese people, when you want to wish, especially elderly, senior people, you wish them a long life, you will, draw peaches, like 3,000, peaches, to represent it's a good wishes for them, representing the longevity. So for that kind of thing. So and the other thing is that the Chinese painting, you classify as figure paintings and landscaping paintings, flower and birds paintings. Of course, they have a, for me, this is a few, this one actually,
it's
most recently, did this one. This is like a, and this is the scenery painting. This is the one I had it painted before, just give you a few examples for that. I haven't really get into the figure painting yet. So that will probably be my next thing I'll try to do. So now I give you a little bit, since we're talking about the topic about heritage and the diversifying. And we have for the International Chinese Art Society, Americas, for this organization, we headquartered in northeast of Philly, where is the American Chinese Museum is located. So in there, there are lots of histories exhibition in there, and I can show you. I mean, if you search online, you'll find it. And if anybody have the time, when you have chance go to Northeast, I will really recommend to take a look. It's really cool there. And for this, our organization actually work with Dr. John Baker, like back in 2019 before the COVID. And we invite a group of people from China artists, did the live demonstration and the exhibition. So it was a really good event. And the last year in the fall, we did exhibition with the Penn State Green Valley in Marvin. So that's we have been really trying to promote the cultural exchange for that. And this is my information. If anybody interested, have more questions or trying to, you're welcome to contact me.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And if you have any questions, let me know.
So we can do some questions at the end. I mean, I'm conscious of time too, you know.
Okay, let me try to stop this.
I talk the most. But
and the one more thing, and then we have a website, and if anybody interested in the past event or wants to get to know more about the society, you're welcome. Yeah,
that's great. So thank you. So so let me just get this clarified too. So you are you studied here Masters in Computer Science. Do you have formal art training? You did have formal art training as well.
I started art is my passion. So I do almost like my minor, you know, I mechanical engineering. I went to Sichuan University in China as a mechanical engineer. At the time, I think whoever, it is a cool thing to do. But my passion always with the art and music. So I never stopped learning from, you know, the professors on the side of or in school. But then I come here, I went to UMass University for my graduate study in University of Massachusetts. So I went there, then at that time, after I graduated, computer science was blooming, and I was very interested. So I went to Westchester University, continued graduate study for my computer science. That's the long story short. But
well, thank you. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you zooming in. I wanted to turn it over because we have another artist.
Thank you, Sue. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, John.
We have another artist too, Diana Larisgoitia. who, you know, is, I believe you're a psychotherapist by trade, and yet you do these wonderful, beautiful, my students loved meeting you and loved looking through all these beautiful quilts that are here. And Diana, are you here? Is Diana here? I think should be. I know I heard from you. I don't know if you're muted, maybe?
Yes, now you can hear me.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks for being here, and thanks for, I know the students just love going through these quilts, and I have to say one thing. So we have on our website, which you can see everything, you can explore this at a virtual exhibition, wcupa.edu/beyond the bell. There are teachers, you know, we have elementary school, middle school students that come through here. We have a teaching school of education had done lesson plans for students, and this was the biggest hit. Make your own quilt, design your own. The quilting aspect was what the students really glommed onto. So we're so glad that you're represented here. So thanks. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. My name is Diana Larisgoitia. I'm originally from Argentina, Buenos Aires, Argentina, born and raised there. Went to school for to become an elementary teacher and an associate in early childhood education. So while I was, I had a training as part of my preparation to be a teacher in painting and art and music, so on and so forth. So I always enjoyed doing art, and I transitioned to study psychology at the University of Buenos Aires. When I graduated as a clinical psychologist, I had the opportunity to be invited to come to the United States through an exchange program to work as a psychologist. Initially, I contacted through the Rotary Club, for which I'm a member, and came in 83. In April of 83, I came to the United States to work as a psychologist. So I've been working for 40 years as a clinician with all kinds of populations and in Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. I registered for a PhD program at Temple University, which I completed in special education, and then got my training as in a postdoc at Harvard School of Education. So that's the academic route that I pursue. But I learned as a child to sew my own dresses. My mother taught me to sew my own dresses. And when I moved to Philadelphia, I've been living in a studio apartment for the last 40 years, which was always very small. So initially I threw away all the remnants of the dresses until I saw a program in TV where they taught how to make quilts. So I started saving the remnants of my dresses, and I started making all these beautiful handwork on quilts, perfecting the techniques. So this is my media, cloth. I work with cloth. And at the moment, I'm learning how to make lace and tatting. And so I'm working on all these techniques of to do fiber work. I exhibited in the Argentinian embassy, in the Philadelphia Art Museum, at the Plastic Club, of which I'm a member, and at the University of Pennsylvania. So I've been around showing my artwork. The way I work on diversity is that some of my quilts have a theme. I've done one of the quills is, and I'm sorry I don't have accessibility to the pictures here, is about the monarch butterflies. So in the bottom is the Argentinian flag, and in the top the American flag. And so the butterflies are flying through the border to the north. I was attempting to do the Mexican emblem, which is very difficult because it has very intricate forms, until I found a way to put glue in the back of one of the emblems in a flag, and then embroider on top. I've done a quiz. One of the quiz was about Africa. And, so I organized a little workshop and identify the continent and then the different countries of the composed Africa, and the figures of the animals. I've done the Red Hat Society, which is very traditional American for women over 50 that were red hats and wear purple outfits and get together to go for outings and picnics and whatever. I was able to do a quilt that with two horses standing, that I sent to the Pope, who is from Argentina, as a present. So I had a very little note signed by the Pope for Pope Francis. And I also, since I have through the Rotary a connection with a person from the Netherlands, I accepted the challenge to do the coat of arms of Maxima, the Queen of the Netherlands, who is also from Argentina. So I did that quilt and sent it to her to the castle in the Netherlands.
That's so cool.
So and this is something that I do for relaxation. I create an LLC called Papoose, and I do crafts, different crafts, and wine bags and things for the children and different figurines. But my media is basically cloth. I'm allergic to the oil, so I don't do painting. And this is my passion. I do. This is how I get a balance between dramas that I hear all day long and my artwork.
It's true. It's true. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for being a part of this. When are you going to make one for Messi? Since he's the biggest star in Argentina, more than the Pope right now, right? So
I did one. I have one in the Argentinian group. We have a man that is fanatic of Maradona. So
Maradona, even better.
So I did a quilt called the Hand of God, and I gave it to him with a different hand, the hand and I gave it to him, and the wife says that he used that to take naps. Every afternoon he takes a nap with Maradona.
That's awesome. You should go to Naples. He's Santo Maradona. There's all over. There's pictures of him with a halo and everything else. Well, thank you so much. I know I'm conscious of time, and we're over an hour, but I did want to also just give Anna a couple minutes to talk. I mean, you can see, Anna Vizcarra Rankin as well here. Thank you so much, Diana. I really appreciate it. Anna, you want to pop on for a couple minutes? Everybody can watch Anna's big speech that she gave here a couple months ago as well. That's on our website. But of course, we want to hear from you too. Close this up.
Great. Michael, thank you for having me. My name is Anna Vizcarra Rankin, or Ana Vizcarra Rankin. I'm from Uruguay, and I make art about maps for a living. It's a little bit hard to see the images that are up on screen. I do have slides that I can show everybody, but as you can see, the South is at the top, which is a very Uruguayan thing that was started by an artist called Joaquin Torres Garcia, who drew a picture of South America with the South at the top. And in terms of diversity, what that says is that the name of that painting is Our North is the South. And it speaks to how we create the world we live in, we construct the world that we live in. He was a constructivist artist. And I went to school in Philadelphia at Temple University for art history, and then at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts for studio art. And as I was kind of exploring my own history and sort of digging into my own artwork, I came across how ubiquitous this image was in everything that I grew up with, and kind of adopted it as my own, and have been making maps about art about maps, about world maps and star maps for the last 15 years or so. Like Michael said, there is a nice 45-minute video lecture about my work, so I won't go over all of it again. I do want to say, I definitely want to mention Diane Keller. It was amazing to hear you talk. I'm very familiar with all your work. I live about 3 blocks away from the tropical landscape that you were talking about, that you just restored. It looks so brilliant. And I used to walk by the Rizzo mural all the time when I lived at the Italian market. So I was a little bit starstruck to find you here. And then Cheng, I love your work. And how you explain what you do. I actually wrote a little bit about where some of those techniques come from when I was studying art history. So I feel like I'm in such great company. And then Diane, of course, from Buenos Aires. I'm from Uruguay, where, you know, neighbors. You guys vacation in my hometown. So I'm really just thrilled with Westchester University's ability to bring so many people together for this exhibition. It's been quite marvelous.
Thank you.
Really quick, if we have just a couple of minutes, I can throw some images up on the screen. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see. Can I make that smaller? Can I make it bigger? And then I can share. Yes, I can. Yep.
Oh, you can't share it?
I should be able to, but it's blocking me. Let's see if I can try it one more time. Share, open. Nope.
Oh.
New computer. It's too fancy for me. It's not letting me do it. But
If you want to put like a website in the chat or something, people can see
sure,
it.
yeah. Let's see, is that? Yeah, I can definitely do that. And what else can I? Oh, yes. So 2 other things. Friday, March 31st, one of the kinds of work that I do is I make star maps by hand from being outside. And I'm going to lead a forest stargazing walk at the Schuylkill Center for Environmental Conservation. So I'll pop those links on as well. It's being put together by them, and we're going to kind of do a walk in the woods and do some naked eye stargazing. And I do have a solo exhibition opening up May 6th in South Philadelphia at a space called Philly Put, which is at 19th and Washington. So again, click back to the lectures and check out how loquacious I got to be last time Michael invited me. I've been doing this for about 20 years, so it's a long list of many different places and spaces and people. And this has been just an absolute pleasure to get to meet everybody that's been a part of this, and to get to share my work with a completely different group of people. And it's been charming to find also who is in your area that I have been friends with for a long time and had no idea that they were so very much nearby. All the folks at the Brandywine River Museum, they have one of my pieces in their permanent collection.
Awesome.
And so on and so forth. So thank you for, building this community. I think it's really remarkable.
Well, thank you so much. And, just to put it on as we end this, on our students, I mean, you all of the artists and of course, all the alumni who are zooming in and all our outside consultants like John, really make this worthwhile. I mean, this is the educational aspect that we really strive for. This museum is different in that it's all entirely student curated. It's not, faculty curated as much as time as I spend in this place, and it makes all the difference to have such wonderful people to work with, like all of you. So I really, thank you. And I know the students do too. Right? So I know we're almost out of time, but certainly we can entertain some questions real fast before I have to pick my son up at 8:30. So are there any questions, Jenna? Is there any questions in the chat or anything that we can answer or that our guests can answer?
No questions in the chat, just that it was a fascinating talk this evening. So thank you to all the presenters.
Well, thank you so much. I guess we should leave it there. I mean, Anna really closed it for us. I think, thanks. I will just thank you on behalf of the museum, on behalf of Westchester University, on behalf of the students. All of these kinds of events really make all this worthwhile. It gives students not only the opportunity to curate and to learn about stuff that you really don't study. You weren't studying this material. I don't know. Most of these things we learn as we go along. And so it's really valuable to partner with, Global Philadelphia Association, its members, the artists that spoke today, all these museums, the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, the Swedish American Museum, lots of different organizations that National Park Service that really came together. So, and of course, the Alumni Association that we do these fantastic talks with. So thanks, Jenna. Keep up the partnership. It's really great for the students also to learn how to give tours, right? And to talk.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. And thank you, Jenna, too, and the Alumni Association.
Yep. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. This was fantastic, as always. Hope to see everyone at Alumni Weekend next month.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. We'll see you.
Bye. Thank you.
Everyone.
All right, bye. Thanks, Diane.